Yeah, before I left the West Coast, I was on the Huron, and we went to the Gulf. And through the Panama Canal, Halifax, the Azores, which we had a ruptured fuel tank. Somebody overfilled the fuel tank. It was like action stations, alarms going off, fuel in the petty officer's floor on their deck where they sleep. Fuel, we were like sopping up fuel. It was at nighttime. Oh man, all these fuel rags on the deck, on the bow. Yeah, it was just crazy. I was actually on the fueling team, and all I heard was stop fueling, stop pumping, and that was it. So then we got out of the Azores, got repairs in Gibraltar, sailed from Gibraltar to the Suez Canal. Let all these people on board to sell us like Egyptian stuff, like souvenirs that you'd buy around the pyramids and stuff, all this old Egyptian stuff. And anyways, we had to pick up an anchor there because in order, the 280 class only had one anchor. So in order to go through the Suez Canal, it's a law, you have to have two anchors. So we actually had an anchor brought on board, and it was just laying on the deck, on top of the deck. I didn't even know if it worked. I didn't even know if it would actually work. So we were carrying this anchor, extra anchor, just to meet the conditions of going through the Suez. And then you get a pilot comes on, takes you through. And as we're going through the Suez Canal, there was tanks on roads all along the side going up and down. And then on the other side was like Lebanon and stuff, and they had these missile launchers there. And so that was all to do with the conflicts that those potentially guys could have. But it was pretty interesting. And then we had, there was all kinds of gear put on the Huron for that trip too. Like we had these 45 mils guns or whatever. No, we had these guns on the side, on the boat deck, that were built in 1945, Bofors, super old guns. They painted the whole upper deck white to reflect the heat because our AC, didn't have good AC on those ships. They actually installed another AC unit. They put the rod on, the reverse osmosis, so we didn't have to rely on evaporators and boiler steam to make fresh water.
This was all in the Trump refit?
Yeah, no, this was just for the
Prior.
Gulf. This was to get ready for the Gulf, yeah. So it was a rod unit for water, painted the decks white, the two guns on each side of the boat deck, the Bofors, built in 1945, even on the tag it said 1945. What else? An extra AC unit. What else did we do? They put a Suez on, which is that Gatling gun. It looks like a big tower, white tower, and it's got the rotating barrels. They put that on top of the hangar, and I think that's about it. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting trip. They gave us these Tilly hats, and we had some gear that was more for hot weather, like shorts and stuff like that, and sandals, which are ridiculous. On a ship, nobody's wearing sandals except when you're off break and you're like laying on the flight deck or something. But yeah, so that went pretty good. And then after that, when we came back, it was around the world, circumference around the world. So it left Halifax or Victoria, through the Panama, into the Med, through the Suez, into the Gulf, did our gig there, left there, went around India, went through Singapore, stopped there, and then came up to Guam, and then Hawaii, and then back to Victoria. So circumnavigated the globe. Yeah, but going back